And all right, we are up and running. I want to make sure my screen is big.
Same here. What's the vantage point like? Can you see me?
Yeah, you're solid right there. Good audio. It's good.
Good
That's
deal.
good. All right. Hey, what's up, Advantage Army? This is Dr. Jeff May, and I'm bringing you another interview. Listen, it's all about giving you the advantage. And so it's such an honor to get to introduce this guy because, interestingly enough, what most of you don't know is this is the man that's responsible for why my wife is so jacked. And I think this is going to be the title of this. I think that's going to be good clickbait for all of those things. But
Love
this
it.
gentleman is for sure one of the top trainers that I've ever met. This is Kam, the man, is what I call him. I've had the unfortunate and fortunate experience of being through some of his workouts, and we'll get into that. We'll get into his philosophies and do those things. But Kam, I want to give you a chance to say hello to the. You remember that guy named Justin Bieber?
I think I might know the person is.
Yeah, I didn't listen to him either, but he had his Beliebers, and like Lady Gaga had her like Little Monsters, like her fan. So I have the Advantage Army. This is who we speak to. So I'm gonna let you kind of say hello to them for a second here.
First off, I just want to say thank you, Mr. May, for allowing me to have this opportunity to speak to your Advantage Army. A little bit about myself. I currently work for Lifetime Fitness. I am a trainer, but I almost hate the word trainer because I look at me more of a coach than anything else versus one that thinks always about sets, reps, tempo, all the other, situations like that. But for me, I think the biggest thing is just having the opportunity to speak with you and give my perspective on fitness, and I try to simplify it in any way possible. And I look forward to having this platform to do so.
Yeah, it's gonna be cool. And listen, one of the reasons, and I'm gonna call you Coach Cam from now on. I like that.
Perfect.
Is that why I wanted to sit down and have even a chat with you off? And here's the thing: it wasn't because I was like, man, he is so jacked, which you are. It wasn't. It wasn't
Everyday
that
battle, man. It's an everyday battle.
every day for sure. And it wasn't necessarily like, you roll through Lifetime and you see your classes and see those things. And I'm like, yeah, that's, they got it going on. It look like it's getting a good workout. I will tell you, Coach Kam, the reason when I was putting these things together and I'm like, we're going to do this and we're going to do that, I wanted to get you on here is because of a conversation we had in the cafe, right? We were,
Yeah.
we were down there and I will tell you that when you came up and you were like, hey, it was kind of like, hey, what are you reading? What gets you motivated? And do those things. And we had some really cool side conversations on when it wasn't always sunshine and roses, but the fact of the matter is when life is life, what do the people do who want to make a difference? Where do they dig their heels in? Where do they start to grind? And so from those conversations, I'm like, yeah, Coach Cam's got to be there because of that philosophy. So let's go back to like fitness in general.
Yep.
And I'm not talking about fitness as far as like fit the whole pizza in my mouth, which I try and do once in a while, many times.
Hey, I'm
Uh,
human too, and I'm human
co-
too.
Come on, pizza, let's go. That's a whole nother interview. I think I might have to be the Papa John guy next. I'll interview him, and this will be totally like ironic.
We can have a cheat day together.
Come on, let's go for sure. But how'd you get started in the fitness world? Where was your start?
So I played high school athletics. I played football. I threw shot put and discus and track. And I always knew that I wanted to be able to have an impact on people outside of just my teammates. For some reason, people listened to what I had to say and they actually got benefits from it, whether it was me running my mouth or whether it was me leading by example. I knew that fitness was going to be it. One of my mentors was actually my uncle, Kirk Johnson, who had his own gym. It was called Club Hit Fit, actually out in Chanhassen. And he's with Lifetime now, but that was the person that I always looked up to. He was the person that trained me when I played collegiate athletics and high school athletics also. And there was just something there because I always knew that football wasn't going to last forever. And with that being the case, I had to figure out, okay, what's going to be the next best thing to where I can still lead men, women, large groups, and be able to have an impact that's lasting. So I actually had the opportunity to meet who's the CEO of Lifetime, Mr. Baram McCarty, And his specific words were, once you get your certification, we'll have a job for you. And now, 7 years later, I've still been in my lifetime. I've weathered storms, just like we were talking about. It's not always sweet. It's not always good. But I have a passion and I have a purpose that's beyond just giving someone a workout, sending them on their way, taking their money, and getting another person in front of me. It's more of, how do I create that lasting impact? Like, for instance, my relationship with you is, we've came in passing because I've had the pleasure to work with your wife. She's been nothing but awesome. She's willing to do the work. She's said nothing but good things about you. And the interactions that we have had over time, I know there's something else more that me and you are going to do business along the line. So that's why, once again, I'm thankful to be having this conversation with you, because I feel like this is going to open up so many other areas, so many different realms that we don't even know yet.
Yeah,
But that'd be the
hands
overall
down.
basis of it.
Yeah, and hands down. And this is the cool thing, Coach Kam, because you're right. Like, I love the fact that when you were in high school, you had the enough self-awareness to say, huh, whether it was running my mouth or whether it was showing by example, that people were listening. And
Sure.
and and the cool part about it is, so much today in today's world, um, you got the group of people that will demand attention in a negative light, right?
Yeah.
So they'll do whatever it takes to get in front of people, and as long as the intention's there, for show, for good, for bad, all those things, and then which is short-lived. Right? This is
Yeah.
this is what we call the flash in the pan, and they're here today, gone tomorrow type things.
By the way, that's like the fourth time I've heard that today. The flash in the pan. That's
Come on, there
I
you
just came
go.
back from a meeting at the corporate office about, I'm working on the athletic performance program for a lifetime, and this is the fourth time literally that I've heard the flash in the pan today.
That's
And this is
good.
the first 4 times I've heard it in my entire life. So keep going with that. Sorry to interrupt you. Go
No,
ahead.
that's all right. You're onto something, man. I mean, that's how it works. And so, but like, truly, like, your heart behind it is why. Because let's be real. Can people work out at home? Yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely. People can get great results at home. And like, for people watching, like, this is what it's about. Like, we want to help encourage you. We'll get into some tactical stuff and those things. But what I'm saying is, even in my world, right? People drive. Like, literally, we have a gal I've been taking care of for 5 years. She drives 2 hours from Wilmer. There's probably 100 chiropractors between here and there. That's not the point. The point is that when like Coach Kam is tied in with his heart, with his service, with his knowledge, and can back it and can get great results and do all those things, I'm telling you, this is when it is such an investment. It's not a cost, right? That's an investment into, say, hey, having that level of accountability and those things. And yeah, absolutely. Like, I can't believe, Olivia, she cranks, she works hard, but boy, she loves it. She's always upset. She's like, if it's not Kam, I don't know what I'm going to do. So she always loves
Hey,
classes.
I checked in on them today. They were being well taken care of. It looks like they had a good workout. So hey, the show must go on. That's how I look.
Absolutely, absolutely. So Kam, let's talk about, like, so in fitness and those things, when you started developing some of your own philosophy, what really gets you excited when you can go in there, whether it's personally, whether it's your classes, or even individual training? What's the thing that you're like, man, if I could have that every day, I'd take it.
Train for life. Period. That's how I look at it. So my philosophy in a nutshell is, when you walk inside the doors, or let's say you're working out at home, let's create movements, let's create function that's going to be realistic and that's going to transfer into as soon as you walk outside of the doors. So how can I get my client, how can I get my group, how can I get my athlete, depending on if it's sports specific, how can I facilitate, create movement that transfers over into everyday life? So very rarely are you going to see me having a client bench pressing 225 reps at 20, because how often are they going to walk outside of those doors and have to do that? You get what I'm saying?
Right.
So my philosophy is training for life, training for what happens outside, making sure you can bend, rotate, push, pull, hop, jump, skip. If somebody needs you to run a mile, you can run a mile. If somebody needs you to pull a sled, you can pull a sled. If somebody needs you to hop on a box, you might not be able to hop on a box, but I'll bet you can step up on a box without
Right.
having to postural imbalances. So that's it.
That's key. And so this is what I love, and I probably know where you're going with this, just even with that philosophy, which I love. Um, but what about let's go to the flip side of that. What's because it's 7 years of doing it and being an athlete your whole life and doing those
Yep.
things. What's still one of those things where if you could like help people make a decision, and let's just even be funsies, let's make them make a decision where they normally fall off. Where's one area where you get frustrated where people make poor choices and you just wish you could shake them sometimes?
Creating lifestyle changes. Like so many times I see people, for instance, it's the beginning of the year. Everybody knows everybody's doing a detox or everybody's doing things differently than they did on New Year's Eve or the previous year, but trying to make sure that moving forward, you have to think about how you can make realistic change and be okay not being perfect. That's one of those things that I repeat all the time. It's okay if you're not perfect because that's how we're going to progress is by failure. So I think of more of a realistic aspect. So taking whether it's from a nutritional aspect, whether it's from a movement aspect, little things that you can do and change that are lasting versus in February, I'm going to notice that the swipes in the club are going to be less because people have made dramatic changes. Not that that's a bad thing, but dramatic changes that don't go over the long haul.
Yeah, yeah. I tell you the same thing, Coach Kam, where even I literally tell people this to their face. I go, I would rather if you think about it like brushing your teeth, because there again, whether it's fitness, neurologically based chiropractic, nutrition, these
Yeah,
things are set up because we confuse them right in our world. Like most people will go to the gym after a crisis where they get on the scale and they're
right.
like, oh shoot, 40 pounds. That didn't happen just last night, but I feel it today. And it's okay, we have that crisis versus convenience. But if I were to tell you, I was like, Cam, you guess what? You get two choices. You can take your either immaculate, like picture perfect to the every T crossed, every I dotted when it comes to your teeth, flossing 5 times a day
Yeah,
and brushing in those things for 90 days and that's it. But then after those 90 days, you can't take care of your teeth. Or you can have a realistic schedule of I can brush, I can floss, I can do that a couple times a day and do that the rest of your life. We
yeah.
know where the value is.
And everybody's different. You have to really and truly find out what works for you. How I operate is different than how you operate. How I operate is different than how your wife operates. How
Mm-hmm.
you operate is different than your Advantage Life team operates. So we have to be able to empower, facilitate, and allow people to be okay with figuring out what works best for them. That's my biggest thing. And
Yeah.
another way that I look at exercise in general is it's more on a prescribed basis. So with my one-on-one clients, and even in my team classes, I want to be able to maximize that hour on that day. So let's say I was training you one-on-one. You come into the club, you're like, okay, Coach Kam, I just had a flight that got in at 2 in the morning at 6:45 a.m. and you're showing up for a session. Why would I look on this sheet of paper and say that this is exactly what the plan is going to be? Would I or would I not be doing you a disservice?
Yeah, disservice for sure.
Absolutely. So I have to be able to just prescribe exercise based on that day. So I look at me as I'm not an over-the-counter drug. You get what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
you
for
can
sure.
go to Walgreens and get me. You can't go to Walgreens and get you, hopefully, right?
That's right.
That's
Yep.
because that's what separates it from anything else.
Dude, I love that. If I write another book someday, I'm putting that in it.
Please
And I'm
do.
gonna put Coach Kam. I'm
Love.
gonna have you write the beginning of it. So I love that. And digging in your philosophy, because kind of as we tail in this sucker, I'm curious. What do you like? Are you a reader? What do you listen to? What are you either reading or listening to right now, whether podcasts or books or audiobooks that's just getting you fired up that the Advantage Army needs to know about?
So there's three things that I stay loyal to, which is my faith. So I don't necessarily read all the time because it's not really the first thing that I choose to do, but I listen to audio tapes. So I listen to TD Jakes.
Come on, there we go.
Everybody should know who that is. So I listen to
Yep.
my son. on a weekly and daily basis, depending on what my availability is. And also, I listen to Jim Rohn,
Mm-hmm.
to Tony Robbins, and any type of motivational tapes that can change my mindset for that particular day. That's really how I look at it. If I'm feeling down or if I feel like, I can't get something figured out, then I'll diagnose what I should be listening to that day. Now, if I'm working out and I want to have some tunes, then I might have my trap station on. That's
Come
what
on,
works
there you
for me,
go.
gets me rolling during my workout. But
Yeah,
there's time and place for everything. But I'd say
absolutely.
motivational speakers is the number one in my
Yeah.
sermon.
Well, you
That's
know what?
but
Yeah, you hit it perfect, Coach Kam, because truly, I kid you not. So back here, we always like to give people stuff because like we really like to give gifts here. So I actually have one of my books that I give out the most. This is probably the book that I've given out the most, and I got one for you. So this is
what? I
come on.
promise you I'll read it. I promise you.
You know what? Here's the beauty of it. This is not a sit down front to back cover.
Hmm.
This is my favorite because this is it's called The Greatest Words Ever Spoken. Okay, and what it is that everything Jesus said about your life and everything else. So it's categorized,
Yeah.
but it's all the verses. So this is like a thing you can chop up, throw it in your Vitamix, digest this thing. I got a copy
Great
for you.
analogy. Great analogy.
Absolutely, and just pull in from. So that's for you. And I know the people listening, right? They're like, "Hey, not only did we get a ton of value out of this, but we had chatted about." And I'll put the links. I'll put all this stuff when we get this for post production. But I want more people experiencing your classes
Yeah.
and experiencing Lifetime. And so we'll make sure then the post production like that gets thrown in here. It gets nailed down. So everybody listening with that, but I would say, parting thoughts. I just want to thank you, Kam. Like, this is cool. Like, truly, I really think this isn't obviously, I know this isn't our first one. We'll go around the horn on this. And what I love about you is just your heart for your people. Like, you truly care. Like, that
Yes.
shows through the most. Um, and you having that in the right place, like, there's some really, really, really big things coming for you. And I'm pumped just to be able to sit on the sidelines and say, you know what? He's well deserved, and I'm proud of you.
I believe it, man. I appreciate it, Mr. May.
All right. Well, Advantage Army, this is Dr. Jeff signing off with another Advantage Life. Whether you listen to this audio, whether you're watching this video, listen, this year, the hashtag this year is either going to be one day or day one. So you're either going to be that person that says, today is my day one of doing something that's going to either give you a state, circumstance, or opportunity that's favorable for your success. Or guess what? Your other option, you can be that person that says, I'll do it one day. So we know who we want to be. We know who we're here, and we know who Coach Kam's with. So thanks you guys for watching, and this is Dr. Jeff signing off.